Would invite the commissioners back in.
I'll bring you a painting and I'll bring you a picture of the news your neighbor. Your pictures and news your neighbor. Same. I'm going to be running somewhere. I will.
Okay, I believe we're back in order, and we're on new business, the next item on the agenda, and on your green agenda, if you have one of those, we have 6, 7, and 13 are on the consent agenda. So up number next is Commissioner Shell with item number 8 on our agenda tonight. Commissioner Shell, you're recognized on first reading, sir.
No, sir, it's second reading.
Okay. I have it, we will consider it on second reading then.
Yes, sir.
My agenda is incorrect, so
And
you're recognized.
And I'm happy to discuss this non-controversial routine resolution.
We can depend on you for bringing us not a controversial thing.
Mr. Chair, this simply removes, if voted in the affirmative, it will remove the automatic mechanism that was instituted by the Commission in year 2007 to tie our pay to our pay raises to the process whereby constitutional officers receive a pay raise by act of the Tennessee legislature. My personal philosophy and the campaign promise when I ran for office again is that I believe that if commissioners think they deserve a raise, that they should simply vote for it each time. I realize other people don't agree, so vote your conscience. I'd be happy to explain any more if requested.
Mr. Shaw moves for the introduction and adoption of item number 8, properly seconded by Commissioner Starrs and Commissioner Stidham. We have Commissioner Stanley seeking recognition. You're recognized.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm going to support this resolution just for the fact that we are crunching numbers and we are in hard times right now in this county. And I cannot sit here and accept a raise on my pay when we're trying to look at cuts or raising taxes or whatever. And I cannot accept sitting here getting a pay raise for myself when we might be looking for cuts here in the future. So I'm going to, support this resolution.
Thank you. Anyone else have questions for the sponsor? Mr. Shaw renews his motion for adoption of item number 8. No further questions. Madam Clerk, would you open the board for the vote? When the board opens, please cast your vote. Requires 13 votes for passage. Has everyone voted? Anyone wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, take the vote.
10 yes, 13 no, 1 absent.
Having failed to receive a majority, item number 8 fails. Next up, item number 9, Commissioner Stanley, you're recognized on item number 9. I'm sorry? Right, yeah, they'll make that motion. No, it's all right. Commissioner Stanley, you're recognized.
This resolution is asking to go in and amend the jail budget. They're asking for $110,000 for maintenance and repairs of the jail and equipment and indigent care medical costs and for the pharmaceutical drugs. And $250,000 for the uncontrollable costs for the number of inmates that are incarcerated that has increased over the years. This is for food and the utilities for that. And then the next $100,000 is for the 2% raise that they absorbed last year that they did not have in their budget.
You've heard the explanation. Commissioner Stanley moves for the immediate introduction and adoption of item number 9, seconded by Commissioner Stidham. We have any discussion? Mr. Cotton.
I just have a question. Is this new money or is it in their budget?
Frank, can you pass Frank?
We can, Frank Fear, no. Mr. Horn, you're welcome to the podium, and the question was, is this new money?
It will be, yes, it's to increase the jail budget for the current fiscal year.
Okay. So it would be coming out of fund balance for the county to your budget?
I suppose so, yes.
That, Angie, I cut you off. Commissioner Vance, you're recognized.
Ms. Compton, if you remember what was presented to the Budget Committee the other day about the sheriff's budget, the jail has already been amended to that point to cover this. Last year, he came in front of the county commission to finish out the year. It was not put in the budget this year, so we knew 2 years ago these funds were going to be needed. So this is just balancing it out this year, but it's already been included in the next year's budget to be presented in front of us.
Any further questions, Commissioner Stanley? Commissioner Stanley renews her motion to immediate introduction and adoption, second by Commissioner Stidham. It appears we're ready to vote. Madam Clerk, would you put the vote on the board? Board is open. Cast your votes. Has everyone voted? Anyone wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, take the vote.
23 yes, 1 absent.
Having received the necessary majority, item number 9 is passed. Item number 10, Commissioner Vance, you're recognized on item number 10. And for some reason, it's not coming up. Could you recognize him?
This resolution has been to the committees that I also presented to the Administrative and Executive Budget Committee. This is taking money from undesignated fund balance to finish out this year for the county coroner's budget and also the medical examiner's budget. Mr. Bailey's the one that went through the numbers to make sure this will finish out this year. So I'm asking for waiver of rules.
Sorry, we're having no technical problems, but you heard the explanation. Mr. Vance moves for the immediate introduction and adoption of item number 10, second by Commissioner Gardner. Any questions, Commissioner Vance? Seeing none, you appear ready to vote. Madam Clerk, would you put the vote on the board? Vote is on the board, cast your vote. Everyone voted. Anyone wish to change the vote? Madam Clerk, take the vote.
23 yes, 1 absent.
Have received the necessary majority, item number 10 is adopted as filed. Next up, item number 11. Commissioner Hutton, work it again. You're recognized, Commissioner Hutton.
This resolution is on just first reading. I did, as it went through committee, there were recommendations made. The amendment 1 you'll see down there, just all it does is basically add my name as the chair. That was what some of you all had asked me to do, so I did that. This resolution is born out of a concern, I think, for trying to answer the questions in regards to not just the jail overcrowding, but what it's going to cost us. When I put this thing together, I wasn't really aware of what was going on with MBI and the 3 committees that the mayor's mentioned. I wonder, Mayor, if you'd be willing to kind of give us an update about what MBI is doing and the committees that you've mentioned that they're trying to form, because that might make this resolution sort of redundant.
I'll be happy to bring you to the point that I can. Obviously, we have a signed contract with MBI to provide architectural services, and part of that architectural services is helping guide us through this process. And none of us have done this before, none of us are experts, but they have suggested, and Mr. Well, I'll call him Jay because I can't remember his last name, but he suggested to you on the night he was here that there ought to be committees established. And they suggested those committees to us. And they do, I mentioned to the sponsor of the resolution that they do touch on many of the things that he's talking about, but I would encourage you to keep this on first reading. We'll look at it next month and make sure, as we do that, make sure it fits what your request is with this. And
right.
It could not, it might not come up to what you need.
Right. One of my questions, Mayor, at this point is, as I, in the hopes that this thing passes, as I have conversations with people, I don't want to overstep. It would be helpful to know, who's serving on those committees and.
Well, we want the best and brightest, and we'll take recommendations from, obviously, the commission for those slots on those committees, and those committees will include a jail committee, a reentry type committee. So as we can, we just want the best and the brightest in the community from the commission and private citizens, and we'll be able to, I've met with judges, sheriff will make his recommendations or make his appointments. There won't be recommendations, he'll have who he wants. So we'll get that out as soon as it's out.
Would it be appropriate to basically recommend, to some extent, that these committees, that MBI puts forward, if this resolution is redundant, be largely made up of current commissioners, rather than maybe private citizens or even just people who've been on the commission before?
I think there's room for a good representation of current commissioners. We want this to be as public and as open as we can.
Right.
But, and obviously the commission needs to participate in that process.
Right. I would just hope that it was, that we were super involved in this. In terms of the monies that we're going to be outlaying, I just want to make sure that we're all in the know, and that's what I'm asking for in terms of the people that serve on the committee
The-
and all that.
When the information is available, be shared with the commission.
Thank you, sir.
First reading. Item number 12. Commissioner Banks, you're recognized on that.
This resolution's gone through the committees for favorable recommendation, and several of y'all have asked to be added on as co-sponsor. But I just read this one here on the second whereas the city of Bristol has agreed to sell the aforementioned property in Sullivan County at $34,600. That needs to be, that's a typo, it should be $34,650 as it reads in the therefore be resolved. If there's no question, I'd like to call the question on this resolution so we can continue to move in the process of purchasing this land. Mr. Mays, the director, is back there if anybody has any questions.
Do you, anybody have any questions for Commissioner Banks?
You're asking for waiver rule?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Bass moves for immediate introduction and adoption of item number 12, seconded by Mr. Glover, Mr. King, Mr. Locke. Mr. Mays is available for questions. Seeing none, it appears we're ready to vote. Madam Clerk, open up the board. Has everyone voted? Anyone wish to change their votes? Madam Clerk, take the vote.
23 yes, 1 absent.
Have received necessary majority. Item number 12 is adopted. And the reason I hesitated is item 13 was on the consent calendar. And I saw 14, I thought, oh Lord, I missed another one. Okay, next up is item number 14. This Commissioner Locke, and Commissioner Locke has filed amendment number 2 to item 14, which replaces the original resolution in its entirety. So we're dealing with amendment number 2. So 13 was on consent. So Commissioner Locke, I think I've got us in the right place. Item 14, amendment number 2, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chairman. This is a resolution that we talked about at work session last week with 32 officers. Now it's dropped down to 20 and amended, as you said. And that's going to be 1 registered nurse, 2 LPNs, 1 transport officer, 4 number 2 female officers, 4 number 3 male officers, 4 extension housing officers, and 4 booking officers. And that dropped down from 1.9 million to 1 million. And I'll just put this on first reading.
On first reading?
Yes.
Without objection, first reading. Sponsor, take question. Commissioner Aker.
Of those 20, was the jail population manager still part of that?
No, just as I said, it's 1 registered nurse, 2 LPNs. He's taken off that jail population manager. And I'll the sheet I've got here. The sheet I've
This
got.
is on first reading. Any other questions for the sponsor?
I'll get you a copy. I will.
Commissioner Stanley, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chairman. I think we were supposed to take Michael Cole off of that one and put me on as co-sponsor.
I'm sorry, you have such a soft voice. Sometimes I have.
Take Michael Cole off and put Angie on there as a.
Michael Cole was to be taken off
Oh,
and add me as co-sponsor.
Michael Cole, without objection. You ladies have such soft voices, sometimes I have to wear this, my hearing aid is not sufficient. And that's on first reading, Madam. Thank you. Without objection. Next up, item number 15, Mr. Jones. Commissioner Shelley, you sought recognition on.
I think I'm confused. So we're on 15, you said?
Next up is item number 15. Item number 14 was just passed on first reading.
Gotcha, thanks.
Item 15 is Commissioner Jones, juvenile court. Commissioner Jones, you're recognized. Now, if we're not in the right place, I think we are, but Go ahead, Sam.
Item number 15 came, it showed up at the budget committee and we brought it to the work session. And I think everybody got pictures of that van. We tried to get them, the doors had fallen off of it and they had them tied together inside just to keep the doors on, back windows broken out. A lot of issues and purchasing and with Mr. Bailey went out and sought through the state contract, found a vehicle that can be, if we pass it, then I think within a week they can have that vehicle. They need it to transport juveniles in the Kingsport area. And they felt like this was the best vehicle. This would come from the general fund and appropriated fund balance as a one-time purchase for them to replace what they have. I would move on waiver of rules to immediately, so they can get this van and start doing the job they need to do in Kingsport.
You've heard the explanation. Mr. Jones moves to waive the rule for the immediate introduction and adoption, seconded by Commissioners Morrell and George. Any questions for Mr. Jones? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, we're ready. Open the board for a vote. Board's open. Cast your vote. Is everyone voting? Anyone wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, take the vote.
23 yes, 1 absent.
Having received the necessary majority, item number 15 is adopted. Next up, item 16. And I believe that we received that today, Commissioner Shaw. I'm sorry, did I?
No, it's 16 after the explanation.
No,
Let him do 16.
okay, that's good. Commissioner Glover, you're recognized on item 16. You're on.
From what I understand, Mr. Chairman, this is a routine thing. It's done through the county trustee's office. Susan approached us yesterday to get this turned in for her. Like I said, I think every 3 years they take a year off of that, and that's her request that we vote on this so she can move forward with that.
Are you want to enter tonight?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Commissioner Glover moved to waive the rule for immediate introduction of item 16, seconded by Commissioner King. And Commissioner Shaw, you're recognized.
He answered my question. Thank you.
Oh, good. Okay. Very good. Any other questions for sponsor? Seeing none, you're ready to vote. Madam Clerk, open the board. Board's open. Cast your vote. Has everyone voted? Anyone wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, take the vote.
23 yes, 1 absent.
Having received the necessary majority, item 16 is adopted. That completes our consent agenda as I have it. And I have no additional items for tonight's business. I'm going to ask Mr. Bailey if he has any, Commissioner Vance, you want to be recognized? Yes, sir.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I have some information that I would like to have asked to be passed out to all the commissioners. I know Mr. Jones's resolution earlier in reference to the pilot program in Bristol has been a hot subject for the last couple of months. But as we prepare to go into the budget, it may help you all to kind of understand what has been done in the past when it refers to abatements. But the list that I've asked the property assessor's office to compile was all the outstanding tax abatements and how much actually the county has actually give up in tax abatements over a period of time is still outstanding. Also, it shows the city of Bristol and the city of Kingsport's projects they have voted to do through their IDB boards as well. One of the things that I find it troubling in this, that if you look at seeing what's being given away, that we need to send a message to the cities that when they do a tax abatement or a pilot, it impacts us as a county as well. I think going forward, this commission needs to draft some type of policies that we would adopt and utilize so that the commissioners would have what would be considered and would not be considered as a pilot before it would ever go to the county IDB board. So that we don't get caught up in a situation of where what things have been done in the past, whether it be correct or incorrect, that we would have some type of guidelines to help us to make a decision to say this doesn't fall within what we would consider as a pilot program. One of the things that I was looking through this, in the real property, Inspire property in Kingsport, the tax abatement was on an annual basis about $1.7 million. We're sitting here faced with some trying financial issues that we're having to deal with, and I think it's came to a time that we need to be conscientious of what's been done in the past and ensure that we don't be in a situation to have to do something that may have detrimental to future commissions that are sitting here as well. So I'm gonna have copies made of this and put back in your all's box, and I would like for you to actually look at that. And I would also like to ask the mayor to come up with some type of guidelines to bring a plan from the county commission. So that's how the IDB board will be taking care of things going forward. Because I think Mr. Hutton's resolution explains purely that it's supposed to come to the county commission and then it's supposed to go to the IDB board for approval. If we have guidelines established here and it doesn't meet those guidelines, then it won't be going to the IDB board for consideration. But I wanted you to look at what's being actually done. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying that I think we better be conscientious about how we approve any type of tax abatements, but I also want to understand that the cities need to be conscientious of this county. When you look at some of the things done in prior administrations and what has been given away, you question if it was in the best interest of the cities and the counties. That's all the comment I have.
Okay, and since we're through our agenda, maybe I can suggest, and I will take your suggestion without a resolution, without anything. We'll get together and work on that. I think it would be very informative, and Mark is very good with numbers, and I think the information you have, I don't have it, but I'm probably familiar with it. But it would certainly be more complete if you had the number of employees that these people have and the number of people who have been employed as a result of that tax abatement of businesses that are located here. It makes it more valid. It would be more valid if you had the investment that was made in Sullivan County to give that tax abatement, if it was $40 million, $50 million, $100 million. So, Mark, I applaud you getting that information together. I just think that we ought to make it as complete as possible. We ought to talk about how many jobs there were, what commerce it spurred, what the actual investment was. So I look forward to seeing that, and I'll sit down with you and we'll see if we can't come up with what you're asking. Thank you. Commissioner Shaw.
Mayor, this is in regards to what Mark was talking
Sure.
about.
This is open. Anybody can say anything you want.
No, if you recall, I think it was about 2 years ago, it was back at the table back here, you had a meeting, I think it was the budget committee, but you invited others to come, and you passed out a very helpful document on TIFs and tax abatements and various forms of tax relief like that.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what Mark's got here.
He's got you're gonna give us something on ongoing things, right?
No, what I've got here, Pat, is actual, this is actual property that's
Yeah.
being given abatement,
What you
and the
passed
dollar
out-
of taxes is being given away.
Right.
We're not giving
And
away
what you
the
passed out was a
stimulus.
general overview of the whole concepts.
Yeah,
And that,
Yes, I did.
I just think that's something you'll pass out to all the commissioners.
I'll try to find that, Pat, and if we can, if we don't have it, we'll recreate it.
I might be able to dig mine up.
That'd be good, that'd be good. But I applaud Mark's effort here, quite honestly, because it's something that we're dealing with now. We have a resolution, we have an IDB that we are not sure how our relationships are with it, so I agree with that. Commissioner Ray?
I just was really want to talk since we're still about 3 hours before our cutoff time.
Oh, yeah.
No. No, this is the discussions that I think after a few months, we're finally getting to the heart of things. Pat, I would welcome any help from the Kingsport side. I mean, I'm not going to throw Colette under the bus, but we've talked behind the scenes. I've got Bristol's guidelines for the IDB. You know, I want to make sure that you understand the thinking and the thought process and the resolutions. It's about process. You know, it's not that I'm against tax abatements. I'm against a non-processed tax abatement. TIFs, I think, are a very good thing because you incentivize development. I don't want to prop up developments, but I want to incentivize developments. And we're going to have more of them coming along. Kingsport and Bristol are two, should be partners in economic development. And so part of that process is I don't think we should go around them and be cognizant of what they desire as economic development in their city boundaries. And so, like I said earlier, we asked to be here, we asked for the vote. Some of us serve kind of two masters, and I'll be honest with you, I'm very happy to. I serve a Bristol contingent and also a county contingent. I'm Bristol born and bred through and through, and plan on being there for the rest of my life. And so by having these discussions, yes, I've got Bristol's guidelines, and I would like to hear behind the scenes how we can work with Kingsport so we can empower. I don't want to handcuff our IDB. I want to empower them and make sure we have the processes in place to do that and everything. So, and Mark, I can't wait to see that, paperwork you have there. So we know what we have going on, because pilots, TIFs, they all have different meanings. I mean, I won't go into them, but they're out there, they're on work, and if Mayor Venable has something, or Pat, if you have something, I think that would be a great thing, because one, we've got 17 new people. A lot of us, some of us have dealt with it, but maybe a lot of it haven't. And so trying to resolute our way through some of this is not always the perfect way. And we're going to hit some rocky parts. But I really feel like we've got a really great opportunity to guide this ship for many, many years to come. And it's going to take all of us together, and I look forward to that. Thank you.
Thank you. Now my dinner is cold. No, I'm kidding. Mark, were you on, Commissioner Jones?
I would just like to extend the invitation for Sunday morning at 7 a.m. for sunrise service at East Tennessee Funeral Home that our Rutan Club sponsors. It's about 40-some years we've been doing it, and you're welcome to join us.
Thank you for that.
Hope everybody has a nice weekend. That's where I know that's where a lot of school people are. This was one of their.
I didn't cut you off. You went on.
Oh, I did.
You did. Cut stuff off before you quit talking. Commissioner Stanley, you're recognized, and Sam, thank you for the invitation.
I just want to let everybody know that the executive and the administrative committees will be meeting on the first Tuesday of May instead of the second, because the second falls after the Thursday that we'll be meeting for our work session. So we want to meet before the work session. So we're going to meet on the first Tuesday on May the 7th. The administrative committee will be meeting at 7. The executive committee will be meeting at 6.
Thank you. You're all doing yeoman's work. I appreciate the chairman. Mr. Glover.
Mr. Chairman, on May the 11th, we're having our annual steak supper at the Ron Ramsey Regional Ag Center. Tickets are $20 each, or we'll sell you 2 for $40. So
That's bargain at any price.
yeah. That will include a ribeye steak, and I think we're having baked potatoes and salad, and it's a real good meal. And at the end of that meal, we usually have an auction. This auction is put on for the 4-H kids. All that money that we raise goes into a fund, and we award scholarships each year to 4-H or young farmer participant. The Ag Center is going good. I'm gonna let the Dwight tell you a little bit more about what we've done down there on the back side of it and some of the things we've done. But you can see Dwight or me or Brenda or some other folks about that. I think it starts at 6 o'clock.
Been there, done that, and can recommend it. Mr. Brown.
We'd love to have all of you show up for that if you would. May the 11th.
Tyler, believe we're through. Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you, Herschel. This coming Saturday, if y'all are free and you got any young kids, grandkids, whatever you want to bring out, we've got the Easter egg hunt there at Sullivan North. It starts at 10 o'clock. It's coming Saturday, rain or shine. And there's over 12,000 eggs, 20,000 eggs this year. So if you know any kids that want to come hunt some eggs, come on out to Sullivan North. Be there before 10. It starts at 10. By 10:15, all the eggs will be picked up.
Mr. Crosswhite, I was just getting ready to recognize you. Pitch that pancake.
Yes, sir. I got tickets this is for the animal shelter. It's May the 18th from 8 to 10, $5. Pancakes, sausage, drinks, us, me and Angie serving. I mean, what else would you want for $5?
And that committee has already sold a whole bunch of tickets.
Yes,
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am, we will.
Commissioner King and then Commissioner Shaw. And if you want to leave, go ahead. Commissioner King, you're recognized.
Yes, Herschel said that he wanted me to comment a little bit on the Ron Ramsey Ag Center. I've got 4 contracts that I just got this afternoon, and yeah, with checks, got money here, so, but these are contracts for events that's going to be held at the center, and like one of them is a walking horse show in the back. The back is, we're about to get the back completed. We've got the gravel down, we've got the sand down. We bought some bleachers from the mini domes in Johnson City. They nice. I mean, they were a whole lot cheaper than what we had been buying new ones. And probably we're going to have them certified. The company that built them is going to send people to our place and certify them so they'll be certified as safe. And that's something, you know, we're proud of. I mean, we bought these cheap. And but anyway, we're about to get everything situated to where we can use the back. So again, if anybody needs a facility, we're leasing it out. It's not free. We've got to pay for the light bill and the water bill and all that. So it's but I, you know, and there again, if somebody would want to have a meal catered, our Cattlemen Association has been doing some of this stuff. The Rough Grouse Society had about 140 people there about 3 weeks ago when we cooked for them, and we've done some other things for the Farm Bureau, and let's see, I think the Republican Party, we had a picnic for them. So, but most of this is a little flay steak, and we're getting pretty good at these steaks. Sure. And baked potato salads, rolls. And most of the time it's homemade dessert and our drinks. So we're still, we're not crawling still, but we're about to get where we can walk with this thing. But it, you know, it's been a long process, but we've had a lot of good people working on this, and we've had, you know, the community's stepped up. I know Mark and Woodman, you know, they've had several things there, and I know he's helped sponsor some of this stuff, so it's a good place. It's a community place for anybody to use.
But still, the Cattlemen Association is the one that's running it, and we have to pay the bill, so we have to charge for it.
Appreciate it. Chairman, I get the last word, and I told Mark I'd work with him on some guidelines. And I am burdened with experience, and it is a burden sometimes. I said, I am burdened with experience. Guidelines, and we have a situation exist right now that guidelines are published and they apply until they don't. So as we consider this, remember, they apply until they don't. And the biggest development projects in Sullivan County are not per the guidelines. So, Mark, look forward to working with you. Mr. Bailey, you have anything? We're adjourned.